Welcome to Retro Revisited. I'm your host, Amiibo Jason, and today is the 25th anniversary of Pokémon. So on today's episode, we're taking a look at where it all started, the original Japanese releases of Pokémon Red and Green. So let's take a look back. 25 years ago, February 27th, 1996 in Japan, Pokémon Red and Pokémon Green were released. For the most part, these two versions of the game were very similar to what we got here in the US with Pokémon Red and Pokémon Blue, but Pokémon Green had some differences. Probably the biggest one being the sprites were very different. My favorite one is Mew from Pokémon Green is oddly terrifying, but at the same time too, sort of endearing. So if you're a fan of weird Pokemon stuff, take a look at all of the sprites from Pokémon Green. Now Japan did get Pokémon Blue. It took some time and it was kind of a weird kind of release schedule for that game. It came out October 15th, 1996, so about 6 months after the other two, but exclusively to subscribers of CoroCoro Comics in Japan. It took a full 3 years after that for the game to get released to a traditional retail environment in Japan, so if you wanted Pokemon Red, Green, and Blue, you had to jump through some hoops. Besides that, there were some other graphical differences in the Red and Green versions in Japan compared to what we got here in the States, but it's the same Pokemon, more or less, that we got here. And finally, the last one, Pokemon Yellow, released in Japan on September 12th, 1998, and it was obviously a tie-in with the upcoming Pikachu movie that was coming out to theaters. You might recognize that as Pokemon the First Movie here in the US, and it was a very different game. Obviously, Pikachu was your buddy, Team Rocket was in it, there was a lot more anime aspects to it, but overall, it was the same Pokemon that you knew and loved, with some twists that fans of the anime were sure to pick up and notice. It was great. Great game. But the purpose of today's video is to take a look at the games themselves. I did import all 4 of the Japanese games, and I love them. They are very cute. They're in these tiny little boxes, much smaller than the traditional Game Boy boxes that we got here in the States. But let's go ahead and take a look at the boxes themselves. Let's open them up and see what's inside, compare them to what we have here in the US. So let's start off with Pokemon Green. Now, obviously Pokemon Green was the one we didn't get here. Venusaur's right there on the cover. You can imagine, though, what the US version of this game would have looked like. I kind of wish a Pokemon Green did come out here in the States, but alas, it never did. The back we have a nice picture of Bulbasaur, some screenshots of the game, advertisements for Super Game Boy. Pretty straightforward stuff. But let's actually get this thing open and see what's inside the box, because I can tell you right now there's things inside of the Japanese editions of these games that are much better than what we got here in the US. Now the first thing you're going to notice here is the cartridge itself is not colored. Now, in the US, we got red cards for Pokemon Red, blue for blue, yellow for yellow, and it was the easiest way to differentiate what copy of the game you had. But in Japan, you got the really boring traditional gray cartridges for all 4 of the games that released over there. Obviously, the labels have the color on it, but it's not as cool as what we got here in the States, so 1 bonus point to the US. Next up, we have the manual for the game, and it is just full of artwork from Ken Sugimori, the original artist of the Pokemon series. All of his art just gives me just pure nostalgia feelings inside. I love the original 151 artwork from the original run of the games. There's just something purely magical about all of that, so this manual is going to be chock full of that. And finally, if you take a look at the back, we have a nice picture of Bulbasaur. Pretty much perfect. You get some other little inserts here advertising the Game Boy Pocket back in the day. Looks like this is actual size here, which is kind of neat too. But here's something that we did not get in the States, and this is a full-size, fold-out map of the entire Kanto region. And when I say it's big, you have to take my word for it. This thing is big. In fact, I have to move the camera back to show you just how big this thing is. It folds out like 9 or 10 times. Let me go ahead and back this camera out for you. But it's a really big thing that you could imagine putting on your wall. It's the size of a poster, artwork that we typically didn't see here in the US. They give you a detailed look of all of the amazing things that you can find in the Kanto region. Now, a vast majority of the rest of what you're going to see in this video is pretty similar to what you see with Pokemon Green, with some minor differences, so we're not going to spend as much time with Red, Blue, and Yellow, but I did want to show you kind of a box comparison for Pokemon Red here. Again, you can kind of see just how small these Pokemon boxes were in Japan compared to the ones we got here in the US when you compare it to the US version of the Pokemon Red box. But we got very similar screenshots in the back of the Japanese version compared to the US version. It's, I think, a matter of taste for what preference you have for the artwork, the Japanese artwork on the front of the covers or the US artwork. They are very different, but honestly, I think both of them have their charms. Once again, you get the manual, you get the same kind of fold-out map that you got with the other ones too. You can find the same thing here for Pokemon Blue. Same inserts, same manual for the most part, same cartridge that's not colored like the US version. Pokemon Yellow is probably the only one that has any kind of major differences on it. This one actually advertised specifically that it supports the Game Boy printer, a feature that was added specifically for this, that you could print out certain things within your game, which was actually pretty cool for the most part. Even has a full thing right there on the back showing you the kind of things that you can actually print out. And the other thing is, on the spine, it actually advertises the Pikachu movie that was going to be airing in theaters. The same Pikachu movie that we got in the beginning of Pokemon, the first movie. So kind of a neat little advertisement. This thing was kind of released in correspondence to that movie coming out in theaters in Japan. But on the inside, it's, again, same story. You get the manual, it has the same kind of artwork. This one doesn't have a map. I don't think all of them didn't come with a map. I think for some reason the copy I bought just happened to not come with a map, so don't be surprised that you don't see that in this one. But there you go. That's what you get inside the boxes of the Japanese Pokemon games. They are gorgeous, they are amazing, they are a piece of history. They are one of my favorite things in my collection, and as you can probably see with the background of this video, I'm a massive Pokemon collector, a massive Pokemon fan, and I'm just blown away with what has happened with the franchise in the 25 years it's been around. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If you like this, let me know down below. Consider hitting the like button if you're brand new to the channel. Consider subscribing. And I'll be back with yet another episode of Retro Revisited in the coming weeks. Thanks for watching.
Wow.